Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. I'm Drew Blevins alongside Chris Lehman for this one between the NC State Wolfpack and the number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Chris, it did not seem like we were going to be able to play softball here in Raleigh forever with snow, ice, rain, pretty much anything the weather could throw at us, and yet here we are ready to go in a big one.
Oh, it's a beautiful day today. It's going to be about 56 today, highs in the upper 50s. And just great weather, not a cloud in the sky, and we're going to see a great matchup today between the Wolfpack and the Fighting Irish. It's going to be a great one. Really, a pitcher's duel is a big possibility in this one with Emily Wyman in the circle for NC State. She's been spectacular in her tenure here for the Wolfpack. She broke the record for strikeouts in a game with 17 earlier this year. That's a team record. And then you have Rachel Naslin on the other end, who has been white hot over her last few starts. She's been looking very good, and the Fighting Irish overall looking very good, 7-1 in their last 8 games.
Well, just as a general rule, these are two of the best programs in the ACC. NC State came in ranked number 3 in the preseason poll, Notre Dame number 2, Florida State number 1. And you look at the schedule that NC State has played, it may be a little deceiving. They have played some very, very top-quality opponents, such as the Florida Gators, who are still ranked number 1. So, yes, they do have a 7-7 record coming in, but that can be a little deceiving.
No, and you look at the series against Florida, they played all those games very tightly, including a 1-0 game where Emily Wyman gave up just 1 hit in that game, and they got doubled off in the 7th inning, NC State did, with a chance to take the lead on a home run, and it just didn't happen. They've been playing very well. So have the Fighting Irish. They've knocked off 5 teams who are either receiving votes or are in the top 25. So you're looking at 2 battle-tested teams who have proven that they can play with the best in the country.
First true home game for NC State since last season. The home plate umpire for today is Eric Mandley. He has given the signal. The battery for NC State, Emily Wyman in the pitching circle. Behind the plate is Molly Hutchinson. Leading off for the Fighting Irish is Carly Wester, number 21. She's in left field today. 12:01 the time of the first pitch, and it is a leadoff ball. And really, you're going to look at this. Wyman is going to want to try to get ahead in the count early and save her arm. You would imagine in this doubleheader she's going to try to go in both games as long as Coach Rychik will ride her.
And the good thing for NC State, they have Courtney Mirabella to back up Wyman, a sophomore, very strong. She proved last year that she could pitch in the ACC. She's done very well this year. She's already got a no-hitter, so if they need her, she's there as well. So not too much. NC State at least does not have to rely too much on Wyman if they don't have to, but this is a strong Fighting Irish lineup. Another
drag attempt. That's a ball inside. Crowd moans a little bit at that one, so the count grows to 3-0. And you would imagine here, especially so early in the game, that Wester is going to want to take one here. 3-0, missed it outside, so it's a leadoff walk as Wester will take the stroll right down to first base, and that will bring up Jenna Simon, the second baseman for the Fighting Irish today.
That's a great job by Carly Wester to stay patient, watch all 4 balls go by. A lot of times as the leadoff hitter in a tough game like this, the first ACC matchup of the season for both teams, you want to swing away, you want to get the momentum going for your team, but great patience by Wester to take the walk and just get on base.
And even more notably about Wester, she has not been picked off trying to steal. Looked like she may have wanted to go there. Very generous secondary lead after that pitch was let go. That's 5 balls thrown in a row for Wyman.
Yeah, and that's why I think Hutchison is coming out to the circle now to talk to her. Try to calm her down. This is not something you usually see Wyman do. 5 balls in a row, very uncharacteristic. I would expect to see a strike here, so it looks like Jenna Simon's going to have to be ready. She'll probably take it because she hasn't seen a strike yet, but I expect to see a good pitch here from Wyman.
Well, if Notre Dame can force the NC State pitching core to throw strikes, they may have a very good weekend. There's a bunt, a little doinker right down the third base line. Throw over to first, and it's bobbled and thrown away. So NC State is going to want to forget about the opening stages of this inning. That is an error against the third baseman, Lana Van Dyken, on the poor throw toward Hawkins. So that's going to put a runner on the corners, nobody out very early in this ball game. Still nobody out, and the ever-dangerous Emily Kerner, the senior center fielder, coming up to bat for Notre Dame. The certainly, Chris, we know there is speed on the base path, so a couple of options for Notre Dame to work with here. There's the steal towards second, and that'll be easily taken by Simon.
And that's another thing to note is coming into this game in their last 8 games, Notre Dame was a perfect 13 for 13 on base stealing attempts.
Well, 2 runners in scoring position. First pitch was a strike to Kerner. So Wyman finds herself in a bind. Sean Reichik receiving a warning from the home plate umpire.
He's changed the counts 1-1, so
yes,
looks like he's awarded a ball.
She was looking through it. She goes, guys, they sat 5 times last year.
The 1-1 pitch swung on and missed. Strike 2 against Kerner. That's a good pitch by Wyman. If she can finish out this strikeout, she's inserted herself right back into the ball game, and I think that's what Molly Hutchinson's going to want to talk about here.
Yeah, and the only thing that's a little bit disappointing is the stolen base from Simon. Gets rid of a double play chance for NC State to get out of the inning quickly, but definitely a strikeout here would be beneficial to Wyman and the rest of this Wolfpack squad.
Oh, certainly, but you do have to allow Simon to take that base without much contention just simply because of Wester's speed on third. She would have scampered right down the base path. Swung on, fouled right back behind. So Kerner will stay alive for the time being on the Wyman fastball.
They run themselves out. Quite a few innings, which is beneficial.
Kerner eyes her signal from her coach as Emily Wyman will line up her target. 1-2 pitch, swung on right at the shortstop. That'll be the first out of the game. Great play by Renata Davis. She'll lead off next inning for NC State. But the Wolfpack have secured their first out of the inning. Granted, still 2 runners in scoring position and work left to be done. With Katie Howells coming up. Haas, pardon.
That was a well-struck ball there, though, by Kerner. You see why she leads this team in batting average. Well-struck ball. She just hit it right at Renata Davis. Easy play for the shortstop, but a good chance. Way to fight back in the count by Kerner.
First pitch to Haas is a called strike 1.
Now you're starting to see why Emily Wyman is so effective. She very rarely misses the strike zone. She's great at painting the corners of the plate and fooling batters. She did so there on that pitch.
Haas digs in once again. The 0-1 pitch. That swung on. Strike 2. Change up. Had her swinging out of her shoes that time. Just like that, Emily Wyman is ahead in the count 0-2.
This will be a big out here for NC State. It would take a lot of pressure off this defensive squad.
That one's just outside. Another changeup attempt. Didn't miss by much, but nonetheless.
No, I think it was a little bit outside. It looked like it was just on the inside corner of the batter's box on the opposite side there. Hutchison tried to frame the plate there. Didn't fool the home plate umpire there, though.
Strike 3! Got her swinging. Wyman comes back inside and secures her first strikeout of the game. And just like that, NC State allowed 2 runners in scoring position and now has responded with 2 outs of their own. And that will be Michaela Arizmendi up to the plate. The junior is on first base today. Once again, another left-handed hitter for Wyman to have to deal with. There's the pitch, grounder right back up to Davis, fires it over to first, pulled her off the bag. The run will score and another comes in, safe again. All the way down to second, and another safe call on the drop ball. The comedy of errors continues for NC State. Davis's throw stretches too far for Maggie Hawkins to catch up to, and Notre Dame grabs a deuce off the play.
And NC State needs to calm down there. They ended up throwing the ball away too many times there, and it just allowed Notre Dame to get 2 easy runs and 2 runs that NC State should not have given up. That should have ended the inning.
And it looks like they will not award a hit. It will be another throwing error, this time against Renata Davis. And coming in for Arizmendi, it's going to be number 20, Morgan Reed. Arizmendi did start to limp back off the field after somehow beating out the throw to first, which was errant by Davis, and then wheeling around to second. Half swing, did make contact with the ball, but it dribbles foul down the first base line. Strike one. Chris, it seems that left side of the infield is having a very difficult day so far. The first throwing error going against Van Dyken, and then Renata Davis makes this one, and that would have been a huge out for NC State to get out of the jam. Would have given you a little bit more confidence.
And NC State really needs to get out of this inning. Usually your third baseman and your shortstop are two of your best fielders, and in this case, Van Dyken and Davis usually are just two uncharacteristic throws from the Wolfpack, and it's led to 2 runs for the Fighting Irish. NC State's going to have to battle back in the bottom of the inning.
Cassidy Whidden in some trouble here. She's the catcher today. Fouls that one off to stay alive. So Whidden will stretch it out once again, looking for one more hack. There's a good swing there. If the Fighting Irish are missing, it's just going off the top of the bat, so they're right there trying to zero in on those pitches. Another reaching one, foul. Whidden had to really extend the wrist that time to reach the Wyman pitch that was heading outside.
And this is something that Notre Dame is doing very well just to start this game, is getting their bat on the ball. Whether or not they're making contact and getting it into the field of play or a foul ball is one thing, but they're making Emily Wyman work. And the more she has to work early on, the easier it's going to get as the game goes on.
This one goes right back up the middle to Compton, fires it over for Hawkins, and NC State ends the nightmare beginning to this one. But not before the damage is done by Notre Dame. On the 2 errors, the Fighting Irish gleaned 2 runs. NC State will look to respond in the bottom half of the first inning. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Back momentarily. Granted on 2 errors, but now they're going to have to look to rectify the situation. They are down in their home opener to the number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Well, one of the good things about this NC State lineup is you have a lot of power, you have a lot of offensive spark out of these 9 girls. They all have the ability to go yard. In fact, 8 of the 9 that are in the lineup today already have.
And here's one that could run out of Davis, lift off, and it just is warning track power, so Davis swinging on the first pitch lifts that one all the way out to the right fielder.
You have to watch out for Renata Davis. A couple of times last year, she took the very first pitch of her at-bat on her first at-bat in a game and took it out of the park and put a home run up on the board. She's very good at that. You saw it right there. She just didn't quite have the power. It does look like the wind is blowing a little bit in from right field. That could have held it up enough.
It does. Another one swinging on the first pitch. Lana Van Dyken, the third baseman today, immediately reaching out there. NC State may want to try to use a little bit of patience here. Certainly Wyman was under a little bit of heat early, practically because Notre Dame was willing to wait for that perfect pitch.
I will say, though, I like this strategy. Attack the pitcher. Swing the bat, make contact, and get in her head quickly. Rachel Naslund, very good pitcher. If you let her control the game, she will. I think it's good to see NC State come right back at her and swing the bat early.
Count is 1-1. Naslund fires this one, and that lifts up high. I believe that may have nicked off the umpire's face mask, as he'll shake that off for a moment. 2-1, and already the catching squad is out there to have a discussion with Naslund. The battery for the Fighting Irish today, Rachel Naslund on the mound, and back behind is Cassidy Whidden. 2-1 as Van Dyken digs back in. Wind up and the pitch swung on and missed. Strike 2. And Chris, up next for NC State is Molly Hutchinson, the long and lanky catcher, but already she's having quite a season.
Yes, she is. She's already off to a great start. She's one of the best batters on this NC State squad with a .381 batting average. So she's very dangerous. She'll be one to look out for. She's tied for the lead in both home runs and RBI already with 4 home runs and 9 RBI. She's an offensive spark for this team. They'll need her to get on base, especially if Lana Van Dyken can't find a way to.
Well, here's Van Dyken now facing the full count, so something's going to happen here. The windup of the pitch, it's high. Van Dyken takes the stroll down to first on the first walk of the game for Naslund, and that will give Hutchinson a chance to really do some damage here.
Now coming to the plate, number 7, catcher, Molly Hutchinson.
Hutchinson steps up to the plate here, a right-handed batter. only one out, and the last thing she wants to do is try to put that one on the ground. This one lifted high up in the air. She's absolutely crushed it. Hutchison puts it in the soccer stadium. NC State ties it. Oh, my stars. An absolute rocket of a home run puts it up into the North Carolina sky, and NC State has a deuce to the board on their own.
That ball was absolutely destroyed. As soon as it came off Hutchison's bat, you knew it was gone, and you have to watch out for that because NC State has so many girls on this team that can take the ball and knock it over the fence. You can't give any of them anything good to hit because they all have power. You see it there, and a great response from NC State to immediately come back and tie this game.
That is Hutchison's 5th of the season, and that will rile up the crowd here. Now batting for NC State is Tyler Ross. Her first pitch is swung on and missed. If NC State is going to be successful in the ACC, as they're slated to do, that's one of the ways they're going to do it. It's a power-hitting team. Another half swing makes contact with the ball, so just like that, Ross is down a couple strikes. Pitch is just outside to Ross. Naslin thought she painted the corner. That may have been a little high as well. So Naslin will get her signal from the dugout. 1-2 to Ross. Wind up in the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. So just as Emily Wyman was able to do earlier, Naslin reinserts herself back into the ballgame with a big strikeout. And that's the second out of the inning against the Wolfpack.
And that's what you have to look at from both of these pitchers. Both Wyman and Naslin have done a great job after giving up big plays to start this game to get back into their groove and get a strikeout.
Maggie Hawkins, the first baseman for the Wolfpack today, up to bat now as she takes ball 1.
She's another big power hitter for NC State. Until Hutchison hit that last home run, she was tied with Molly for the leading home runs with 4.
Hawkins is a transfer from the Hofstra Pride, and she pops this one right up in the air, and that one's going to be easily fielded by Simon. So Notre Dame gets out of the inning, but not before Molly Hutchison, no N, crushes one, ties the ball game back up at 2. We'll be back with the second inning. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com.
Fans, if you happen to catch
To the plate here will be Africano to lead off. She's the designated player for the Fighting Irish. First pitch to her is inside. Notre Dame was able to work all the way to the bottom portion of their lineup in their first inning. So it'll be Africano, White, and Sorley. This one is lifted right back over the press box and foul. So we go to 1-1. Chris, this is more what you're going to expect to see throughout the entirety of this series at large, is now that both teams are settled in, certainly shaking off the dust. It's going to become quite the duel. Strike 2 as the pitch is swung on by Africano, misses it, just slid right under her bat right there.
Absolutely. I mean, you're looking at 2 of the best pitchers in the ACC right here today. Both very skilled, both very accurate, can pick their spots. It's exactly what I expect to see the rest of the way.
Ball 2 just outside as the moans continue. But you have to give credit to the home plate umpire, Eric Mandley. He has been calling a consistently tight strike zone, and that's what you're going to expect in the ACC.
Exactly. We've seen a couple that have been very close from both Naslin and Wyman that have been called balls.
Another one crawls outside on Wyman, so she's allowed her hitter back into the count. 3-2 as we go to our second full count of the game. Africano will fake bunt as Wyman toes the rubber. Wind up and the pitch. This one is swung on. This is belted out to center, but it's not going to carry. Lifted right back over to NC State's Hannah Yeager, who will put it away for the first out of the inning.
So she pointed down to him, and he was like, "How are you doing like a move like this?"
That's a really good battle right there by Africano as well as Wyman. And right there you see it's a contact pitch. Just lift it out there and let your fielders do the work.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's good about Emily Wyman, and what makes that at bat so much better for Africano is the fact that she got it out of the infield. Most batters aren't able to do that against Wyman. She's very good at keeping the ball in the infield and on the ground where her fielders can make easy ground plays.
Strike one on to Sarah White, the shortstop for today, batting 8th for Notre Dame. Wyman gets the target, winds up and fires this one. That's a ball low.
If you're going to miss your spot as a pitcher, that's where you want to miss low, because it's either a ball or a swing and a miss. If you miss high, you can put it right up in that hitting zone for a batter, and you could see Molly Hutchison do what she did, where she knocked it out of the park.
There's another foul ball, straight back onto the screen. Had it not been there, it might would have taken out the broadcast booth.
That would have been close.
Count grows to 1-2. And now certainly Wyman has a few pitches that she could work with here. Seeking out her second strikeout of the game. And she got her looking! Sarah White stares down the changeup. And that's Wyman's second K of the day.
Great job by Wyman. She had White frozen there. She had no idea what was coming, so she doesn't swing. Right there in the strike zone from Wyman. Excellent strikeout.
Just as a deceptive little arm motion, you think it's coming out so fast, and it just sort of floats right in there, freezing White. So the 9th spot hitter is Megan Sorley, the right fielder, and called strike one to her. Sorley was the one who was back there on the warning track to prevent Renata Davis from creating offense on one of her trademarked leadoff home runs. Lyman finds the target. Line up in the pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. Sorley can't catch up with that one, so now Wyman is in a very good place. Sorley opens the stance once again. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. So Wyman wraps up the inning with a couple of strikeouts of her own, and NC State goes 1-2-3 in the top half of the second. They'll look to build on the offense going into the bottom half of the inning. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Meredith Burrows will step into the box, leading things off in the bottom half of the second for NC State. Burrows is the right fielder for the Wolfpack today here in Raleigh. The State will look to capitalize on the offense that they started in the last inning as well. First pitch is a ball up high. Burrows, the only, one of two starting freshmen for NC State. Alyssa Compton is the other. She's on second base today. Count evens back up at 1 on the called strike. And for Coach Sean Rychik, this is the future that you're looking at. You're going to get a really good feel of what type of team he's going to start to build as he continues to create greatness at NC State.
And it's great to see freshmen contributing right off the bat. I mean, last year, Courtney Mirabella stepped in and was able to give NC State some key innings in the circle. Now you see girls like Alyssa Compton and here Meredith Burrows who are able to contribute in their first year for the pack. It just creates more experience and more confidence for these girls.
Swing and a miss, strike three, so Burrows heads back to the dugout dejected. It's another strikeout for Naslund.
Now back, number 9, center field.
That's going to bring up Hannah Yeager, a familiar name from last year, the center fielder for the Wolfpack today.
She's going to the scouting report. She's like, okay, Burley, freshman, a lot of power, but if she doesn't hit it out, she's striking.
Yeager is batting in the 7th hole for NC State.
She got behind it.
Swung on and a miss. Chris, that's the patience speaking right there. That's where you need to be willing to wait. That one gets a little high and inside, creating the swing just to be a little lofty uppercut. Just not one of those pitches that you want to try to make an attempt at.
Yeah, but you have to be able to find the pitches. As I agree, that last pitch a little bit up and inside, maybe one that you want to see Yeager take. But I still like to see the aggressive swinging from NC State. You'd rather go down swinging and missing than just sitting there and watching a pitch.
Well, there it is, 0-2, make it 0-3. Strikeout looking against Yeager as Naslin is on the verge of striking out the side. So the designated player for NC State is number 00, Morgan Medford. Medford will dig in, the right-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher. Naslin finds the pitch, fires this one across, and that one is lifted just a little bit high. This is what you can say about Naslin's pitching, though. She really hasn't been wild on either side. If she's missing, it's either going just high or just low, rarely throwing it out or in. Spins that one in there. Strike one on the curve.
Naslin has incredible control over that ball right now. You've seen it with the 2 strikeouts already, and she's just putting the ball where she wants it and forcing NC State to take swings and miss.
Oh, she's got it on string. Wind up of the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. That time a changeup. Naslin is just becoming a magician with a softball right now. She's a strike away from sending NC State packing on all 3 at-bats. 1-2, just outside.
Great eye there from Morgan Medford to watch that pitch. It was in close, but she's smart. She noticed that in the few at-bats that NC State's had so far, those pitches just outside have been called ball. She's a great job watching that one and taking the ball.
Line up of the pitch again, swing and a miss, strike 3, and Naslin completes the effort, striking out the side in the bottom half of the second. Tremendous effort from the Notre Dame pitching circle. So the Fighting Irish will have their turn at bat coming up nearly halfway through this game, as we'll have the top of the third coming for you shortly. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. So Notre Dame will lead off the top of the third here, going back to the top of the order. Wester, who was able to reach base on a walk in her first at-bat. Trying that slap hit once again, had her running out of the box. It's ball 1. And of course, with Wester's speed, any contact on that slap hit, and she will scamper right down to first with ease. Wind up and the pitch again. That one tags on the corner. Strike 1. Wester also had a run scored in the first inning of this one. Kudos of a couple of throwing errors by NC State. This one lifted just fair. It will stay in. This could be a double for Wester as she will eye second base. Gets in there standing on a slap hit that beats Van Dyken just to her offhand side and falls just in front of the base.
And if that ball is about 3 inches to the left, that's a foul ball. You could not put that in a better place if you're Carly Wester there. Van Dyken playing exactly where she's supposed to. She's supposed to be ready to come in and pick up a bunt or a short ground ball, and that ball just launched right past her. Nothing you can do there from the third baseman. So just a great play, great hit by Wester to get there.
Tremendous piece of hitting as Jenna Simon digs in for the Irish.
She's going to beat it. It's going to be safe. She blows through second, heading for third.
And truth be told here, Deanna Gumpf does have a couple of options that she could opt to use. She could try the bunt and sack fly to get Wester home. She could try a double sack fly. You can imagine she wants Simon swinging as best she can here with minimal threat of a double play. Another ball.
Yeah, and especially with Wester's speed, any hit to the outfield will get her at least to third, depending on how deep it is. She might have a chance at going home because these are base paths that are shorter than a baseball field, so any kind of speed is very useful on a softball team.
Another ball as it's sent just high and outside. Ultimate hitters count here, 3-0, and Wyman is in a danger zone once more.
I go to watch their archive because they archive that video that they do. The top of the first inning was missing on the archive, surprisingly.
Notre Dame, a very good position here. Wyman winds up and fires. And that'll be strike 1.
Coach Papa made sure that thing never saw the light of day ever again.
And Simon did show bunt there, but pulled it back at the last second, wisely so for that matter.
She's going to second. She kept burning for third because the third baseman was in to field it.
Wyman to the pitch again. That is called strike 2.
And she just like watched her run and then finally turned to throw it.
Emily Wyman right back into the count. She brings it from 3-0 to 3-2.
Simon a lot more likely to swing at this pitch. She's let Emily Wyman right back into this count, full count. I expect a good pitch from Wyman.
She's looking a little eager. Here it is, and that's going to be hit right over to Davis. She bobbled it right off the side of her glove. The second error of the day to Davis. That will allow Wester to get over to third. Runners on the corners again. Renata Davis can do nothing but look into the outfield.
And I think Wester may have contributed to that error, as I think Davis may have been thinking, if I can get this ball quickly enough, she can turn around and tag Wester before throwing to first. And she took her eye off of the ball and just let it slip through her legs.
Throw down to third, just essentially as a guard, as once again it is a stolen base by Jenna Simon. 2 runners in scoring position, so we'll set up nearly identically to the way we did in the top of the first.
A smart play there from Hutchison to go to third rather than second. She knows if it goes to second, then Wester's coming home, and she's throwing to third in case Wester comes off the bag early and leaves a little gap there for Van Dyken to make the tag. So a smart play from Hutchison to keep Wester at third and not allow another run.
Kerner lined out earlier to Van Dyken. Pardon, just to Renata Davis, the shortstop. This one is lifted right back up and onto the concourse area. Foul ball, strike 2 for Kerner.
We get this every time. These 2 are.
She'll dig back in. The Irish 2 in scoring position. Hutchison down, gives the signal. That pitch swung on, missed, strike 3. Wyman avoids the trouble for now, but as she gets out Kerner, it'll be Kelsey Haas to come up here.
And that right there is what makes Emily Wyman so good. She did this in the first inning now, and a throwing error led to 2 runs for Notre Dame, but she did a great job after allowing runners on second and third to lock down and not give Notre Dame too many opportunities.
Haas in the cleanup spot, lets that one go. Hutchison bobbles it, comes back to get it. No movement from the base paths. A couple of warm-up swings for one of the ACC's most potent hitters. And just looking at Katie Haas's statistics, I mean, she's batting .453, and that's really the only thing you need to see. Everything is there. The bunt dribbles off the lower portion of the bat, foul ball.
And the defensive awareness of NC State right now, their execution not necessarily there with 3 errors in the first 3 innings, but their awareness is there. Van Dyken crashing as well as Hawkins ready to grab that bunt, and the Irish trying to get that suicide squeeze. I'm not sure if it would have worked there. NC State ready for the play.
1-1 pitch. Haas check swing. Did she go? Yes, she did. Just did break the wrists across home plate. 1-2. Wyman trying to be Houdini once again with an escape act. Haas showing bunt, pulls it back, swings onto that one and just misses it, sending that one back up behind home plate. She'll stay alive for now. And Chris, yes, this game is still in its early stages, but if you look over at the line score, 1 hit for either side. The reason Notre Dame is here is because of the 3 NC State errors, and they have committed none. That pitch is outside, 2-2.
No, and that's something NC State definitely needs to clean up, is no more errors for the rest of the game. They can't give Notre Dame anything else. We already know it's going to be a tight contest, tied at 2 right now. Any other error could cost NC State the game.
Wyman eyes the target. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. It was bobbled. Hutchison will throw down. Back in double play time. She got her. What a throw from Hawkins. The double play will end the inning. NC State does not allow a run. What awareness from Hawkins. A good try by Wester. But she's gunned down by the Wolfpack first baseman. NC State will try to build off the momentum going into the bottom of the 3rd. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. In the Wolfpack 9. As Naslin eyes the target, winds up, fires that one, misses inside.
That was a really interesting thing. What do you want to do? You want to hold it because she's going to try to run on you. So do you hold it to lift her back enough and risk for the kid reaching and loading it up with one out?
This would be big for Compton. She is the 9th man in the roster today. With Renata Davis coming back up, she really could put her team in a good scenario here.
Yeah, this will be a key out for Naslin if she can get Compton in this at bat, because then NC State at least has one out when you come back to the top of the lineup where you have your most potent and most dangerous hitters for this Wolfpack squad.
Compton, big cut onto that one, misses again. 1-2, pitchers count.
She just wasn't beating out the slaps like she usually did.
Compton on second base today for the Wolfpack. Wind up in the pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 3, she got her again. 4th strikeout in a row for Naslin. As the Notre Dame pitcher continues to mow him down, but now it's going to get a lot tougher with Renata Davis back up.
The only thing that Naslin has going for her here is her confidence, though. It will be sky high after 4 straight strikeouts. She's found her groove. She's hitting her spots. This is not going to be an easy at bat for Renata Davis here, but she does have the power to knock a big hit for NC State here, and that's what they need.
Davis hit a warning track power shot to right field in her first at-bat, and there she will take the first strike. Davis is a senior for the Wolfpack. The 0-1 pitch. Wind up, fired on. Davis, big crack, and it hops right over the glove of White. So Renata Davis will have a single with one out, and the Packer in business. And that's the versatility of the NC State shortstop speaking right there. Yes, we know that she can hit the power home run ball, but there it's just a solid piece of hitting. Contact on the ball and drives it right by the Notre Dame shortstop in that 5-5 Tony Gwynn hole.
Now, the silver lining there for Naslin and the rest of this Fighting Irish squad is that it's only a single. You already have one out, so a ground ball here could very well be the end of the inning.
First pitch to Van Dyken is just outside. Van Dyken reached on a walk her last at-bat. Crowd starting to chatter a little bit, starting to buzz. Another one drifts just outside. Really not too much of a stealing threat over there for NC State and Renata Davis. She's attempted it 5 times, only been successful 2.
And now coming out to the mound, Whidden to talk to Naslin. She needs to settle her down. That's 3 straight balls, a 3-0 count now for Van Dyken. You can't give that to any of these top 3 hitters, really top 4 hitters for NC State. They all have the ability to take advantage of these situations. And in a tight game like this, where 1 or 2 more runs could be all that we see in this game, this could be a big moment here and a big turning point for either team.
The 3-0 pitch is a called strike. That one may be a little bit of a tough one to swallow. Looked like it was drifting outside.
I think that strike zone got a little bit bigger on that pitch. It looked low and outside. But still a 3-1 count here for Van Dyken.
Van Dyken lets that one go, and she'll take the jog right back down to first. Van Dyken is not one of the more sizable players on this NC State team, so it's a smaller strike zone, tougher to hit, and she draws her second walk of the game. And up to bat now, the NC State player who's been the hero up to this point, the catcher, Molly Hutchison. Drove one out of the ballpark in her last at bat to left field, and that tied the game up at 2, and that was back in the first inning. Hutchison swings onto that one, a little nubber over to third base. Notre Dame will settle for 1 out there. Haas over to Arizmendi. Simple 5-3 grounder. So now it'll be Tyler Ross for NC State. She'll get a little bit of instruction from her head coach, Sean Reichik. And it's not as bad as, say, if you were in a situation where Compton had not gotten out. You are in a 2-out situation, but granted 2 runners in the scoring position, so it's a little bit of a delicate place to be.
This is the part of the lineup, though, that Naslund wants to see. As you look at the bottom 6 batters have struck out 5 times, all of them in their first at-bat, so a lot of confidence for Naslund here. At least she should have a lot of confidence coming into this at-bat.
Tyler Ross struck out in her first at-bat, lets that one go for ball 1. Ross batting cleanup for the Pack today. Windup and a pitch swung on, foul tip. Will count as a strike nonetheless. Did not break the plane of the catcher's head, so can't really count as a pop-up foul. Ross batting .295, has started all 14 games for NC State. Swings onto that one. Misses once again.
She's got to be able to at least make contact with this ball and give NC State a chance to pick up a run here. This is a big situation. You're not going to find yourself with runners on second and third very often against Naslund.
That one drifts outside. Count now to 2-2. And you're right, Chris. Naslund just isn't going to give you opportunities to hit the ball. You're going to have to earn them for yourself. Right now, she has not made many mistakes at all. The 2-2 pitch swung on and fouled back. So Tyler Ross will stay alive.
And that's something that NC State needs to do a little bit more of. Now, it's 5 pitches in this at-bat. Most of NC State's at-bats have been fairly short. They haven't forced Naslund to throw too many pitches, at least in comparison to Emily Wyman, who's seen 2 or 3 just extended at-bats already. They need to start to get into Naslund and force her to throw more pitches.
Fouled right back into the fencing again. So Ross continues to stay alive. And I mean, when you strike out at your first at-bat, this is the important thing to see, that yes, you can catch up to the ball, yes, you can get the foul tips. So you got to give credit where credit is due for Ross. She fouls another one back, staying alive, and that's what you have to do when you're only 1 strike away from being out once again. And regardless, a hit or not, this will go down as a quality at-bat for NC State, as now they are starting to make Naslund throw a little more.
She might just be warming up.
Another 2-2. This one lifted very high in the air, having a beat on it is Kerner. Looking, and she finds it. It is a bright and sunshiny day here in Raleigh, but Kerner is able to grab it. State strands 2 in scoring position. Notre Dame, however, does not yield the run.
No errors, 2 left on base.
NC State will go back on defense as we head into the top of the 4th. Coming out of the commercial break, you're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television. Notre Dame will lead off here as we head into the top of the 4th. The score, NC State 2, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2.
I'll say, was that one she put in the bleachers?
Yes. That was the one after landed off the foul ball.
Yeah.
And leading off for the Irish is Arizmendi. A little nubber right down the first base line. That's the first strike against her of the at-bat.
At Disney, that probably would have landed up in those trees. She's been out in front of a lot of stuff. I'm just kind of doing just
Arizmendi was a little bit gimpy after sliding into second base in the first inning. Did have to sit out for a pinch runner, but reinserted into the game. Strike 2 against her there from Wyman.
She swings the first pitch every at bat.
And of course, Chris, unlike baseball, those substitution rules are quite different.
Yeah, in this case, you know, Arizmendi allowed to come back into the game. Taking this at bat here, struggling though a little bit. Wyman can't find the strike zone there, a 2-2 count now, but just struggling as Wyman is missing the strike zone more often than not, or at least more than we usually see her miss the strike zone. She needs to get under a little bit more control. We've seen her give Notre Dame a few more opportunities than she needs to. She needs to get that control back.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Arizmendi will take a seat on a Wyman strikeout. And that is her 5th of the day. Now it's the catcher, Cassidy Whidden, once again. So Naslin and Wyman pull even in the strikeout total with each other, 5 aside for the day. Strike one to the Notre Dame catcher. Pardon, that is Wyman's 6th. This one bounced over. Van Dyken coming over from third. Pulled Hawkins off the bag, but the play is made nonetheless. 2 up, 2 down for the Wolfpack.
NC State's going to need to get their infield throws under control. That's the 3rd time that we've seen them struggle. Van Dyken already has 1 error in the first inning, and then her counterpart on that side of the field in Renata Davis, the shortstop, has 2 errors already as well. And really, that is why we see Notre Dame even with NC State right now.
Slow floater crawls in for strike one. Africana back up at the bat. She is the designated player today for the Fighting Irish. Junior batting .231. Ball 1. Pitch rises just a little bit too high.
She very rarely ever scores one up in a game. When she does, she can crush it.
Wyman digging in, toes the rubber, grabs the signal once again. Wind up and the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Africano in a little bit of trouble. Flew out to center field in her first at bat. That came in the 2nd inning. She was the break player after Notre Dame's explosive start. She'll show bunt, pulls back, pitches just high and outside.
That's what you start to see with pitchers like Wyman, who really like to work the corners of the strike zone, go high and inside, low and inside, high and outside, or low and outside. They just barely missed some of these pitches. That's what you saw there, but still very quality pitch, and one that I wouldn't have been surprised to see Africana swing at.
That's a foul ball that goes right back behind home plate. She'll stay alive at 2-2. Wyman being taunted a little bit by Africano's bat waving, just throwing that bunt right out in front of you. And there she goes again, becoming trademark. Rocks back, here's the throw, forward swing and a miss, strike 3. NC State gets out of another inning, 3 up, 3 down. Another couple of strikeouts in the frame for Emily Wyman. NC State trying to take the lead once again. They'll have the chance going into the bottom of the 4th. We'll see if they're able to do it. You're watching NC State Softball.
Leading off for the Wolfpack, number 36.
Maggie Hawkins will dig in to begin the inning for NC State. Hawkins flew out to second base on a pop-out at her last at-bat. Hawkins has certainly had to earn her stripes today, being pulled off the bag many, many a time. This one is lifted right over into shallow left field. Easily coming over to grab that one is Wester, 1 up, 1 down on 1 pitch.
Not a bad cut, though, there from Hawkins. She gets a pitch she likes and she wants to hit. She gets contact there on the pitch from Naslin, and she puts it right down that left field line. Just didn't quite drop fast enough, and Wester's able to get there to make the catch.
Still good contact. Burrows for NC State. Called strike 1 against her. Burrows is out in right field today. Batting .162. It's the lowest of the starting lineup, but deceptive. She is only a freshman. Is that one? Is ball 1. I mean, but as we talked about, you look at all these freshmen that Sean Reichik has in his arsenal. He's starting 2 of them. To Burrows' credit, known for her gloves, she started every game for NC State.
Yeah, and you'd like to see the bat get going here, especially since only the top 3 for NC State in the order, and Davis, Van Dyken, and Hutchison have really been able to be productive thus far. You need to find some offense in the bottom of the lineup to force Naslund to have to pitch through the entire order.
Burrows tried to yank it down the first base line, misses again. Rachel Naslund has another strikeout to her name as the pitching duel continues. And up next, it'll be the center fielder, Hannah Yeager. Yeager's resume consists of a strikeout earlier. Naslund got her looking on a little floater. Naslund eyes the target. The first pitch is high, and that's ball 1.
And this is something that Coach Sean Rychek likes to do is put a little bit better bat down in the order to try and throw off opposing pitchers. You see a 270 average for Yeager. Not one of the top in this order, but still a solid batting average down in with some other 100-level batting averages, trying to mix it up a little bit and try to get something going in the bottom of the order that could carry over into the top where you see the most dangerous hitters for this Wolfpack team.
1-1. Naslund finds the target, fires this one. That's a called ball up high. And of course, our coverage does not conclude at the conclusion of this game. It is a doubleheader Saturday, as is traditionally ACC. And State will finish their series with the Fighting Irish tomorrow. This one lifted right over the broadcast booth and behind home plate. We grow to 2-2. It's going to be up to Yeager now to bear down as best she can and at least try to work the pitcher a little bit more. Line up of the pitch, lifted out on a half swing, foul. And I mean, Chris, we had talked about this in the early stages of this game, and our predictions have come true. This has become quite the pitching duel.
Yeah, and it was sort of unexpected the way this game started to see 4 runs in the first inning, 2 from both sides. But you're right, both pitchers have locked in, and we're seeing why they've been so successful this year, and they really have not allowed much as of late. You haven't really seen anything get deep. You haven't seen many balls leave the infield, and you're seeing a lot of strikeouts.
Could be a chance for another strikeout here. This one is an absolute rocket, just fouled on the third base line. Yeager turned on that one and sent a screamer whistling by the ear of Haas. But it's all for naught. Just a long strike. Two and two once again. Target found. That pitch sails high. So we'll go to a full count. Nobody on. 2 outs. And the back end of the 4th.
Yeager's done a great job battling to a full count here after getting 2 strikes fairly early in the count. She's done a great job getting contact and extending this at bat and giving herself a chance.
3-2, and that one is beat down the third base line. Foul once again. Another little spinning ball pitch by Naslund. That's how she was able to get Yeager the first time, but not on that one. Yeager will dig in once again. Second pitch of this full count. Line up and the pitch. That one is just outside, so Hannah Yeager works Rachel Naslund into yielding a walk. And the Pack will have a runner on base with 2 outs and bringing up Morgan Medford to the plate.
And that was a well-earned base on balls there from Hannah Yeager. She had, I think it was 4 foul balls on that play to keep herself alive. All of those coming after the second strike, so those keep her alive and allow her to get on base and give Morgan Medford a chance here to keep this inning going.
Medford eyes the pitch, and that one brushes her inside. Did not make contact with her forearm, so it's ball 1. But that'll back you off the plate a little bit. Wouldn't expect much working in the way of base running with a 2-out steal. Yeager on base. has stolen once and was successful on that one attempt, but certainly Deanna Gumpf is much more willing to take the risks on the base path rather than her opponent, Sean Reichik.
And even if Jaeger did go for the steal here, it would not surprise me if Whidden made the decision not to make the throw and risk an error and allow another base for Jaeger, especially when you look at the lineup and Morgan Medford, who's already struck out, and Alyssa Compton, who struck out as well.
Pitch to Medford. Strike one on the big cut there, no contact. One and one now. Hassan winds up, fires this one. That one's chipped right back onto the screen. Foul ball, strike two. And this is the luxury Naslin has of working in the bottom half of the NC State order. She may be able to get out of this very, very mini jam. Wind up and the pitch. Half swing. And she got it. Medford did turn around. It's another strikeout. And that will send NC State back into the dugout with donuts on the board. All zeros over the course of the past 3 innings. Notre Dame will go back on offense heading into the top of the 5th. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. To Raleigh, Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium is the site. NC State locked in a dogfight with the number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame leading off, hit right to Lana Van Dyken, and she will go ahead and get the first out of the inning on the first pitch. Dribbling that one over was the shortstop, Sarah White. For the first time this game, Notre Dame go ahead and start to take the early cuts.
And if you see a good pitch, it's not a bad thing to swing at. In that case, if you're White there, you might want to hold up since you're the leadoff batter and is the first pitch. But she got a pitch she wanted to swing at. She just didn't quite get the contact she was looking for.
The 9-hole hitter is Megan Sorley. She struck out at her first at-bat. Ball one to her. It's becoming a little bit more of a chess match as we head down the stretch. Wyman's pitch just inside, ball two.
And these next couple innings are going to be very important for both of these teams, especially the next inning, because both teams have seen the top of their order produce and the bottom of the order really struggle. So these next couple innings, NC State will have their top of the order up, good chances there for them. And even to end this inning, Notre Dame will have their top batter up, Carly Wester, the leadoff, with a chance to make something happen. So crucial point of this game here for both teams.
And anytime Wester has reached base, not far behind her is Jenna Simon. This one is lifted very high into the Raleigh skyline. Renata Davis finds it and grabs it. 2 up, 2 down. And here she is. It'll be Carly Wester once again. Wester reached on a walk and then had a double. By far, the Fighting Irish's most potent player in this game today. Ball one inside. Want to know. And not only is Wester able to place her hits well, she also really pounds the ball. Good, solid, hard contact as well, Chris.
And even on short ground balls, she has the slab hitting technique where she starts at the back of the box, runs up to the front, so she gets a head start on the run as well, and she's got some speed, so she is very capable of infield singles.
1-1 on the called strike. Wester eyes the pitch, running up for the slap again. That's just outside, ball two. Lyman steps out of the circle for a moment. Refocusing here. Wester eyes the pitch, gets a slap and contact onto it, but it's a little bouncer fouled on the third base line. 2-2. And this could really give Wyman at least some personal momentum, considering that she has not been able to keep Wester off the base pass this game.
No, it prevents any chance of a rally at the end of this inning for the Fighting Irish as well.
That's slapped at right down the third base line, just foul. Tried to hit that sweet spot once again. Unable to do so. I mean, at this point, if you're Sean Reichik, do you look at the defensive shift and trying to pull players down over?
LSU had...
It does look like Renata Davis has shifted at least a little bit down to the left. You see here Lana Van Dyken on third, playing tight to the line.
Doesn't matter, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Wester is sent packing back to the dugout. NC State keeps the game tied for now. They're going to look to try to take the lead going into the bottom of the 5th. We'll see if they're able to do so. You're watching NC State Softball. NC State 2, number 23 Notre Dame 2 in the softball dogfight. Rachel Naslund back onto the mound. Her first pitch is fed over toward Compton. Strike 1.
She gets ahead when she's not. She overcompensates.
Compton opening up that stance once again, looking like she was trying to pull that down in Renata Davis territory. There she gets contact, but fouls it right back behind home plate in the hole 0-2 early. Crowd is starting to get back into it. They're sensing the urgency from both sides. Wind up and the pitch. That's called strike 3. Compton is caught looking. It was a late call back from behind home plate, but nonetheless, 1 up, 1 down on the strikeout looking. Naslund has another one.
That was very important for Naslund to get that out. As we saw in the 3rd inning when Compton led off, she got the strikeout there as well. Very important to get that out when you have this lineup coming up now in the next 3, Renata Davis, Lana Van Dyken, and Molly Hutchison, easily 3 of NC State's best hitters this year.
Renata Davis digs in for the 3rd time today, looks at strike 1.
I'm a little bit surprised. Davis likes to swing at first pitches. We saw her do it to start this game off for the Wolfpack, and she made good contact. A good pitch there out over just the outside of the plate. A good one to swing at, but she let it go.
She did let the first one go in her last at bat, but there she is swinging at it again right over at Haas, who will finish the job on the 5-3 ground out over to Arizmendi. Right there, that's what we talk about. Davis, contact, liking to go down that 3rd base line. Not really an opposite way hitter by any stretch of the means. Haas is right there to grab it, though, finishing Davis's at bat. Lana Van Dyken.
I'd look for her to be patient here. She's walked both of her at-bats today. You see her take the first ball there, not surprising. She's been very patient. She's been able to get on base both times. I don't expect her to change her approach here.
And quite honestly, until Naslund can consistently hit the strike zone against her, I don't expect to see any swings from number 10. Unless it's a perfect pitch. That one's low and away, ball 2. And Chris, put yourself in Rachel Naslund's shoes. When you see number 10 for NC State get right back up there, what are you thinking having walked her twice?
Well, she can't take a different approach than any other batter that she's seen. If you start treating other batters differently, you're going to start to throw the ball differently. She needs to treat it just like any other batter and try to hit the strike zone. She's really been struggling. She finds it there, though, so it'll be interesting. She's got to get battled back into this at-bat. She's very good when she gets ahead, but sometimes she overcompensates a little bit when she gets behind in the account, and she really struggles, so this will be a crucial pitch here.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. So the count is 2-2. And for Naslund, I mean, much the way Emily Wyman has had trouble with Carly Wester, this has been the one batter that Naslund has not been able to tame yet. This one has popped up. Will it get out of play? Dangerously close to the dugout, reaching for it. It does sail just foul. Did stay in play, but And certainly imagine that Haas was being very, very careful and mindful of where the warning track on the wall was.
Yes, and that's where Van Dyken gets a little bit lucky, as Haas is trying to make sure she's not in the NC State dugout and not up against the wall when she tries to make that catch, not to mention the sun as well. So a tough play there, Haas just not quite able to make it.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Van Dyken goes down for the first time this game. Notre Dame gets out of the inning, 3 up, 3 down. They'll head back to the plate coming up in the top of the 6th with a score: NC State 2, Notre Dame 2. Which team will flinch first? We're about to find out. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. 6 for the Fighting Irish. And this is an unfamiliar scenario for her. Whenever she's been up at bat, she's always had Carly Wester right in front of her on first base. Leads off with ball 1. And really, Chris, if Notre Dame's going to do some damage, this is going to be the place they're going to need to do it, right in the heart of the order: Simon, Kerner, and Haas. They do not want to allow NC State the opportunity to have a walk-off in the bottom portion of the 7th.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised here to see Kerner finally get going. She's one of the best bats on this team. She's one of the most dangerous bats on this Fighting Irish team, with 4 home runs and 10 RBI already this season. She's off to a great start. It's one Emily Wyman's going to have to look out for after this at-bat.
Wyman gets her first strike of the at-bat. Count leaps up to 2-1. Wyman finds the pitch on her armband. Hutchinson with a signal. Called strike 2 on the slap attempt by Simon. Started running out, never brought the bat off her shoulder though, so we go to 2-2. Wyman has only yielded 1 hit. Both of the runs she allowed were unearned. Looking to keep that intact, the windup and the pitch. A little doinker, Renata Davis back to grab it. She's got it on the backhand. Great play by the NC State shortstop Renata Davis, who had to eschew some of her own personal demons earlier with 2 throwing errors, but certainly being fairly sure-handed now.
And that should be a good confidence boost to Emily Wyman, knowing that her best fielders are behind her and playing well now. I'm sure that was part of what was giving Wyman some trouble. She wanted to try and get those strikeouts, make it easier on her fielders. When she started to see them pick up some errors, it's good to see them make some great fielding plays now and see this defense kind of round out for this game.
Emily Kerner back up to the plate here. She swings onto 1, misses. Strike 1 to her. Kerner, a senior, batting .279. Started all 18 games for the Fighting Irish. Windup and the pitch. The bunt attempt did not cross the plane of home plate, so the count will go to 1-1. Kerner digs back in, eyeing the target. Really, it's becoming a matter of which team is going to make the first mistake. This one swung on, hefty cut there, but it's going to be fouled back behind.
And this would be a huge out here for Wyman if she can get it. She'll be able to hold Kerner off the base paths for this game, and she's one of the most dangerous players for this Fighting Irish squad, because more than likely she would not come back up in the 7th inning.
And the pitch out wide, ball 2. Emily Kerner's resume, not much to speak of today. Lined out to Renata Davis in the 1st inning, struck out in the 3rd. Here she is in the 6th. Windup and the pitch, beat right back down to Hawkins, and that will be another out in favor of the Wolfpack. Simple scoop and tap the bag for the NC State first baseman.
And this is just a textbook performance this inning from Wyman. She gets these easy floaters, or slow ground balls that are very easy for the infield to handle and play, and you see 2 infield outs for NC State thus far.
Wind up in the pitch here. Nearly painted the outside corner, but just does miss. Ball 1 to Katie Haas. Haas wagging the bat, awaiting the next pitch, the 1-0 delivery. And that one is low in the dirt. Gets by Hutchison. Haas, the cleanup hitter, has actually struck out twice, and on her last at-bat, she struck out, took the jog down to first on the Hutchison bobble, was thrown out there, and then Maggie Hawkins spun one right back around to complete a double play. There's strike one for Wyman in the at-bat.
Her making that throw to home. Yeah, which would have been the only other way to score a run after those two errors is KS 2-3 run scores. Yeah.
2-1, 2 outs. Line up at the pitch. That one sails high. Haas looking to get on base for the first time this game.
This is a big out here for Emily Wyman if she can get it. She needs to delay the top of this Fighting Irish lineup as much as possible. Now, they did just go through, so they won't come up for another inning or two, and there is only one inning left, unless, which is certainly possible, that both teams go without scoring a run in these next 2 innings. We could go to extra innings, so she wants to put off the top of this lineup for the Fighting Irish as long as possible and to give her team as much time as possible to find a run.
Haas sends that one right by the second baseman Compton. It gets into the outfield. So a 2-out single for Katie Haas, the cleanup hitter. She's on base for the first time. Notre Dame remains alive in this inning with Arizmendi coming up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be somebody local down here.
Arizmendi
A lot of time it'll be like
reached second on a throwing error from Renata Davis in the first and struck out in the fourth. Pitch paints the inside corner there. Strike one.
Especially now that we're in the league. A ton of people down through this belt. For a smaller school, they got people all over.
Haas, not a likely base runner in this scenario. She has attempted to steal once, did not convert, as that one's fouled up near the concourse.
And with 1 out in a close game like this, you don't want to risk being thrown out on a steal attempt.
The one here's big, the one in Miami is interactive with a lot of our stuff. Orange County, there's a lot of usual stuff.
0-2 count to Arizmendi, 2 outs. Wind up and the pitch, that one is high.
She won this one. Yeah. She didn't want these. Yeah. Kid's never seen a pitch. She doesn't like to swing.
Arizmendi digs right back in. Wyman eyes her target. Runner on first. Wind up and the pitch. Swung on and fouled right back.
87? 86?
Much to Arizmendi's credit, she is staying alive.
That was a very good cut there. The bat level just not quite where it needed to be. That pitch got fouled just about straight back, which tells you that she was about right on that pitch. If she had gotten solid contact, it would have been a good hit.
Yep.
Wind up and the pitch inside, fouled off the inner portion of the bat and then off of Arizmendi's leg. She continues to stay alive. Bench is starting to buzz a little bit here. Sean Rychik out of the dugout, applauding his pitcher. Wyman pulls through. She puts her team in a really good situation going into the bottom of the 6th and 7th. And there it is, called strike 3. Wyman gets the job done, striking out Arizmendi. Notre Dame will strand 1 runner on first base and Haas, but no damage is done once again. NC State heading back into the batter's box for the bottom of the 6th inning. We got a barn burner going in Raleigh here. We'll be back with the bottom of the 6th. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television, GoPack.com. The 6th inning here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The North Carolina State Wolfpack Softball Team 2. The number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2.
Hutchison.
Dangerous batter to lead off the inning for the Wolfpack, Molly Hutchison. She has been the sole source of offense for NC State today. Her 2-run homer back in the first is what has brought us here at 2-2.
This is a big out for Naslund. As the only other player below Hutchison in the lineup to reach base is Yeager, and that was on a walk.
First pitch is a ball, low and away. You wouldn't expect Yeager to be one of those players who's going to reach consistently. If NC State is going to get a whole lot of offense working, it's going to be from really the 1 through 4 or 5 batters. Line up in the pitch here, and that one sizzles high. And we say the 1 through 5 hitters, but when you look at it, Davis has reached base once. Van Dyken has reached twice on 2 walks. Hutchison has the home run, then grounded out. But Ross and Hawkins have been relatively unheard of. Lined up in the pitch. This one is beat all the way out to center field. Going. It's gone! Hutchison puts NC State up 3-2 on a solo home run. Right out to the deepest part of center field. The catcher rockets another one. The Wolfpack up 1.
And that could be the game. Emily Wyman will need 3 outs now to finish it off. Of course, NC State not done yet. No outs in the inning, and still 3 more batters will come to the plate. So a chance to extend the lead. If you're NC State, certainly you want to do that, but you have a lot of confidence in your senior pitcher to finish it out in the next inning.
It was not a majestic arc by any stretch of the means. It was a line drive that made a beeline back for the woodshed in center field. And there it goes. NC State keeps the donut off the board for the inning. And they're up 3-2. Tyler Ross going again. It's gone! Tyler Ross, back-to-back home runs right over by the right field flags. NC State's up a deuce.
You know, I think Tyler might have heard what you said in that last at-bat. She hadn't been able to do anything yet, and she rips that first pitch again, a lot like the one we just saw from Hutchison. Really kind of a line drive, but that one was ripped very hard, and it splits the flag poles of the American flag and the North Carolina flag, and NC State, I think, has probably just about put this game away.
Notre Dame is not done, but Deanna Gumpf is out to have a discussion with her team. Certainly, it is never a good situation when your starting pitcher gives up 2 back-to-back home runs at this stage in the game. And you're right, Chris. And now it essentially falls on to Wyman.
And that's not something that you very often see out of Naslund either, as back-to-back home runs. It's the first time it's happened this year. So that's a big innings already for NC State, and they still have 3 outs to give.
Wind up and the pitch. That one is inside to Hawkins. NC State continues to keep the hammer down here. That's a ball, sails a little high. 2-0. Rachel Naslund's going to really have to pull something together. She does not need to give up anything more than she already has. That's a line drive, made a beeline right over for Haas, throws it to first, makes the play anyway despite not being able to make the catch.
And that's not an easy catch to make if you're Haas. That's kind of in a tough spot to put your glove relative to your body. She got down on one knee and tried to make that catch, but a great recovery there to get the throw across and get the out, because I think there, if Hawkins reaches, you're looking at a rally from NC State and a lot of energy, which would just make it that much harder for Notre Dame to come back in the 7th.
Meredith Burrows up to the plate, takes strike 1. Burrows will eye her target once again. Naslund finds the catcher's mitt, the windup, and the pitch. That's called strike 2. Ever since allowing the back-to-back home runs, Naslund trying to get herself back into the ball game. Her team is going to have to rally to try to tie this one in the top of the 7th. Swing. Burrows does go around, tagged anyway just in case. It's another strikeout to Naslund's resume. And Sean Rychik does not like it one bit.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Rychek there. I think Naslin got a little bit, some kind calls there. The second strike, I think, was close to the outside of the plate. I think it may have been a ball. Still, certainly one that can be called a strike. That check swing, though, there did not look close. But either way, it's called, and you have your second out.
And there have been a couple, but that one, probably the most questionable of the day for either side. Yes, Burrows did, no doubt she checked swing, but even from here, it did not look like she crossed the plane of the plate. Yeager up at bat now, ball out wide. She reached on a walk back in the fourth. And aside from her reaching on that walk, in this 7, 8, 9 spot, it has been nothing but Ks.
Even if you go up to the 6th spot, you also have strikeouts there as well for Meredith Burrows, 3 on the day.
Burrows is working on a golden sombrero. Wind up in the pitch here. There's another one. Strike 2 to Yeager. One and two, 2 outs. Naslin winds up, fires this one, swing. This one is popped up toward the gap, coming in. Sorley will yield to Simon, who will make the play on the pop-up. Notre Dame is going to have to climb the mountain after back-to-back home runs from Hutchison and Ross. NC State is up 4-2. They need 3 outs to secure the first game victory in this doubleheader. We'll see if Emily Wyman is able to do it. She'll look to go in the 7th inning here. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. 3 outs from victory. Emily Wyman into the circle. She will have to face the Notre Dame catcher, Cassidy Whidden. She's swinging on the first pitch, fouls that one down the first base line. Whidden has grounded out twice, once to third, once to second. Behind her, it would be Africano, barring no substitutions, and Sarah White, the shortstop, as well. And neither one of them have any hits today either. Low ball 1. And you do wonder, Chris, does Coach Gumpf opt for a substitution somewhere in these upcoming 3?
I don't expect to see a substitution because then you have a...
That one's lifted right back over. Ross makes the play. 2 outs from victory for NC State.
And as I was saying, I don't expect to see a substitution because then you have a batter who has to start all over trying to figure out a pitcher who is very good in Emily Wyman. You are right, though. These bottom 4 have been very unproductive for the Fighting Irish today. As you saw, Cassidy Whidden there, that was her first time even getting the ball on a hit out of the infield. And then you've seen Africano strike out in her last at-bat, and she hit kind of a pop-up to center field earlier in the game again to Yeager. And then you also have seen a strikeout from Sarah White, but she hasn't gotten out of the infield either.
Africano, swing and miss, strike 1. She is in the 7th hole, and there's a grounder right back up towards second. Diving play, not made. Throw back over to first, not in time. Africano reaches base safely, and Notre Dame is in business here. It's a good stab by the freshman Compton, but a difficult throw to make back over. The scorers will accredit that one a hit.
Yeah, and that deservedly so should be a hit. It's a tough play for Compton. She reaches out and gets the glove on it. Even if she's able to control it on the first contact with the ball, it's going to be tough.
There will be a pinch runner coming in for Notre Dame. It's going to be number 11, Carly Bachinik.
Carly Bachinik coming in now for 2 runners.
Pignage, yep. It's...
So Pignage will run.
It doesn't look like it's spelled, that's why.
Sarah White
Yep.
will still remain in to hit.
That's a tough one.
Lined up in the pitch, a little bouncer back up towards second. Could be a game-ending double play, but it won't be. Pignage is snared up at second on the force out. So NC State just needs to get one more of the Fighting Irish.
Right up the middle.
And it will be the 9-hole hitter Sorley who's going to be the last hope for the Fighting Irish for now. Sorley has struck out and popped out to the shortstop in her last at bat. Lyman sends that one across, slap attempt, strike one. If Sorley does manage to reach base here, Notre Dame would be staring something good in the face, as they would get Wester back up to the plate. But right now it's on the shoulders of number 12. Wind up in the pitch. Slapped down a little doinker right over toward Van Dyken, trying to make the play, and Sorley beats it out! Oh my! That may be the fastest I've seen anybody run today. Sorley made a beeline for first, and practically as soon as she hit it, she was there. So now it's Carly Wester, and things could get interesting here.
Yeah, this is a dangerous spot. I did not expect to see this happen. I thought NC State would go 1, 2, 3, maybe get to the fourth batter, and now you're back to the top of the lineup. And like I said, if you're Emily Wyman, you wanted to delay this as long as possible because the bottom of the lineup had not been producing at all for the Fighting Irish today.
So ball to Wester. They do have a runner in scoring position. Wester is the go-ahead run represented at home plate. The game-tying run is Sorley at first. Work to be done, yes, but it's become a whole lot more feasible. Swing and a miss, strike one. Wester reached on a walk, hit a double, struck out. By far her biggest at-bat of the game is before her now, though. 1-1. Wind up in the pitch. Wester slaps it right back at the pitcher. NC State will survive the late rally by Notre Dame, and they will take the first game in this doubleheader by a final count of 4-2. Absolutely stupendous pitching from Emily Wyman, and that's one of the keys to victory for NC State, Chris.
Oh, absolutely. After that first inning, Emily Wyman, even though it really wasn't her fault on the 2 runs, she locked down, didn't really give the Fighting Irish much, and that's why NC State's able to come away with the win. It also goes along with the timely hitting from Tyler Ross and Molly Hutchison in that last inning to pick up the 2 home runs. Just a great finish for the game.
Both teams will step out of the dugout for a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We will have the second game of the doubleheader coming up. But signing off for our broadcast crew for this one, the final score, the NC State Wolfpack 4, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2. For Chris Lehman, I'm Drew Blevins. Hope you'll join us for the second one in this doubleheader. Until then, so long. Thank you for watching NC State Softball on GoPack.com and Wolfpack Sports Television, bringing you into the pack.